Welcome to this webinar briefing that focuses on the newly approved Diocesan Academisation Strategy. This was approved by the Diocesan Board of Education in January 2024. This briefing will provide a short overview of the strategy and the rationale for the DBE's decision around the future direction of travel. We anticipate that there may be further questions following the webinar, and we will provide contact details at the end so that you can reach out for a more individual one-on-one conversation as required. Prior to looking at the DBE Academisation Strategy, I wanted to spend some time sharing the DBE's vision for education within the diocese. This has been developed and enhanced over the past 6 months, and a comprehensive vision statement will soon be launched on the DBE website. The vision is very much in line with the National Church of England's vision for education and is rooted in John 10:10, life in all its fullness. Our vision talks about guiding our family of schools through the mission of God, with a focus on encouraging collaboration and celebrating success. At the heart of the vision is the flourishing of children, of young people and adults. We want every child and young person to have the opportunity to experience an excellent education with a clear focus on Christian distinctiveness and the love of God. This remains central to the work of the DBE. I am deeply committed, in my role as Director of Education, to support the DBE in the living out of this vision, in ensuring it guides our strategic direction and that it is the foundation on which we build our approach to supporting our schools. Part of my responsibility within this, along with the DBE, is to secure the future of church schools. The decisions that we make now will impact the next 100 to 200 years of church school education. I deeply feel that it is part of my duty to protect the deeply Christian foundation of our schools, so that in a future, when all of us are no longer involved in the Church of England educational landscape, our schools remain secure, continuing what previous generations established before us and ensuring the ongoing flourishing of our communities. Before beginning to talk to the Academisation strategy, there will be some terms that will be used throughout my dialogue that may not necessarily be familiar to those not immersed in the church mat landscape. I will just quickly run through some of the key terms to aid understanding. First of all, majority mats. These are the trusts where the Church of England has a majority at member level, for example, 3 out of the 5 members, and are therefore also able to appoint an agreed number of directors to support and secure the Christian foundation of the church schools. In a minority mat, only one of the 3 to 5 members represents the Church of England. The Church Articles of Association. These were rewritten and published in September 2023. The articles set out the charitable purpose of a trust and its governance structure. This includes information about what each mat exists to do, how to appoint and remove trust members and directors, and the establishment of committees and local governing boards. Church schools can only join mats that have adopted the church-agreed Articles of Association. The Memorandum of Understanding. This sets out the key principles and working arrangements agreed between the National Society and the Secretary of State for Education. It applies to all church schools that already have and those that are taking on academy status, setting out the relationship with the DBE. And the National Society. This is now also commonly referred to as the Church of England Education Office. The Chief Education Officer is Nigel Genders. Their role is to promote, encourage and support education in accordance with the principles of the Church of England. The Board of Education is very aware that we are currently in a very complex system within education, with many key stakeholders and partners who are all deeply invested in the future of church schools. We recognise that for this system to flourish, all stakeholders and system parts need to work well together in a culture of collaboration and transparency. An excellent education for all pupils will only be achieved through a common purpose and strong relationships, with children and young people at the heart of decision making. It requires a clear and ambitious approach to school sustainability through structural collaboration arrangements. The diagram on screen indicates the many stakeholders that will be involved in this academisation strategy and how varied a landscape it is. All of these parts will be crucial and all have equal value. They will all remain essential. We see a landscape where the diocese will work alongside voluntary controlled, voluntary aided and foundation maintained schools. where we work with our majority church MATs and minority MATs in close partnership, and where federations and single academy trusts are supported to thrive. So just to provide some history of the Diocesan Academisation strategy, it has been in development since 2022. Of course, that was in response to the DFE launched white paper. Now, initially, that's had a 2030 full academisation target. However, this was dropped and the time constraint disappeared. We had started to work on our strategy at this point, and we held a meeting for maintained schools. Many of you, I'm sure, attended and provided valuable feedback that supported the generation of the final strategy. Much work was done, and then we were informed that the Church Articles of Association and Memorandum of Understanding were going to be updated during the summer of 2023. So we paused the work on the strategy. It made sense for us to wait for the new documentation to ensure our strategy was in line with expectations. At the same time, the Church of England Education Office, led by Nigel Genders, produced guidance to support the development of diocesan academisation strategies. Once all these documents were published and available to the DBE, the work began on drafting the strategy. This was finally approved by the full board in January 2024. Throughout this process, it's important to stress that the DBE respects the decision-making powers of each governing board to make informed decisions in the best interests of their pupils, whether to remain as a maintained school, federate, or become an academy. There will be occasions where these directions are directed by the regional director through a directed academy order. But where this is not the case, we recognise that different governing boards will decide on different journeys for their schools. This will be relevant to local context, the vision, and the identified needs of each school and community. This slide provides greater details on the aims of the academisation strategy. I would like to draw your attention to our ambition to maintain this cohesive family of church schools. If we work together as a family of schools, we will be able to effectively deliver the vision of life in all its fullness for children and young people across our diocese. And of course, we want all of our pupils, every single one in our Church of England schools, to achieve their full potential. We want to provide you as schools with a clear and consistent framework so that you can consider your future options. And we want to promote partnership working with our partners and stakeholders. We also need to be able to respond appropriately to the government's policy on academies and be ready to adapt as required in order to fully support you. Most importantly, we also want to secure good governance for church schools for the long term, ensuring it reflects their status as Church of England schools. We want to support schools to make sound strategic decisions that prioritises their sustainability and future. Finally, the DBE must fulfil its core duties under the DBE Measure 2021. So what does the strategy look like in practice? The DBE have taken the decision to prioritise the further growth and strength of church majority MATs. This ensures that pupils will have access to resilient, strong church MATs with a secure Christian ethos and vision, and with a strong commitment to ensuring Christian distinctiveness is at the heart of their strategic planning for their church schools. This is a significant change from the previous diocesan approach to academisation. The priority is now with church majority MATs as a home for church schools in the Diocese of Chelmsford. This is in line with the National Direction of Travel and meets the expectations of the Model Church Articles of Association and Memorandum of Understanding. In exceptional circumstances, foundation and voluntary controlled schools may be given consent to join one of our minority MAT partners. The DBE will review applications based on exceptional circumstances on a case-by-case basis. We can be sure, however, that Church of England schools will not be given consent to join a MAT where there is not the agreed Church of England representation at member level. This does mean that if we are prioritising our majority MAT partners, it is currently a smaller group of trusts for our schools to consider joining. The current majority MAT partners are listed on this slide. The DBE are open to this group evolving and developing over the coming months and are exploring how to increase capacity in this area. This slide provides details on our minority MAT partners. These are the MATs that VC and foundation schools may be able to join, but only in exceptional circumstances. Both these lists are provided on our website, along with the full Academisation strategy document. So do head there if you would like to download it and review it in more detail. This is obviously a new message. The DBE have not previously prioritised the growth of church majority MATs in this way. So why is this so important to the DBE? The DBE are committed to protecting the Church of England character of any church school, and the clearest way of ensuring this occurs is through the model Articles of Association in majority format. It means that the DBE is actively involved in many aspects of the MAT, including the appointment of the CEO and other senior leaders across the church schools. It allows the DBE to offer advice and, if required, directives regarding the arrangements for collective worship and RE, and ensures that the Christian character of each school is protected by the MAT. These are all essential steps in securing the Christian foundations of our schools that have been successfully preserved for many years. So this really is about ensuring we protect our Church of England schools for future generations. The DBE expect any MAT seeking to admit church schools to either have a theologically rooted Christian vision, values and culture, or to have a MAT-wide vision, values and culture which are congruent with the Church of England's vision for education. If a MAT is seeking to admit a church school, the DBE will be expecting assurances that the MAT is committed to developing and enhancing the Christian distinctiveness of that school. The MAT will need to demonstrate that the principle of the Church of England vision for education will be integrated into the school's vision and values, that the school development plan of each Church of England school in the Trust must include a plan to develop Christian distinctiveness, that the MATs themselves must be monitoring and evaluating the Christian distinctiveness of the church schools. And we expect MAT leaders to proactively engage with the science inspection process and also to support the Church of England and diocese plans for carbon net zero. We also want MATs to be able to demonstrate a track record of improvement outcomes for pupils in their schools, and therefore to provide evidence of their school improvement capacity, which is going to improve the quality of provision in church schools. We want evidence of clear strategic planning linked to capacity and capability to deliver those strategic objectives. We want the annual report and accounts to demonstrate a financially sustainable organisation. Relationships are at the heart of the family of church schools within the diocese, so MATs for church schools must do these things. We want them to be protecting local church school governance arrangements through the adoption of the Church Articles of Association. We want them to commit to ongoing engagement with the DBE and to collaboration with other church MATs. We want a commitment to the ongoing development of relationships with local churches and to be outward-looking, working with other stakeholders when required. We want the MAT to ensure that each church school within the MAT signs up to the partnership agreement, allowing for strong relationships between the DBE, its officers, the MAT and the schools. We want the CEO to attend regular meetings and networking opportunities with the CDBE. All of our partner MATs are aware of the Academisation strategy and understand the types of relationships we are seeking moving forward. So what is our commitment to you as maintained church schools? We commit to providing support and guidance to governing boards that are considering and exploring their future options. This is both in regards to academisation, but also other alternatives to ensure a sustainable future. We can provide bespoke support for individual schools. Initially, this advice can be provided by your linked school advisor or the assistant director, but it will be essential to engage myself as the Director of Education in the discussions before the request is brought to the DBE. This ensures we can provide effective support that builds in the views and challenges of the wider system prior to final decision making. Please do reach out to us if you are considering your future options. We are aware that many of you face very specific challenges. This is particularly the case for our smaller schools, those in rural contexts, and those facing falling roles and significant budget constraints. We want to talk to you about these challenges and provide accurate advice and support. We are also reviewing our own approaches to the information we provide you. We would like to actively support governing boards in the due diligence process for academisation and are considering how best we can develop a suite of documents to assist with this. So, if you are a school currently considering academisation, please begin by contacting your school advisor or the Assistant Director, Katrina Carroll, and have an early conversation. They can guide you on some of the next steps and can ensure that I'm aware of your direction of travel, and I can then also provide bespoke support relevant to your situation. All governing boards must undertake thorough due diligence on the matters they're considering, and as already mentioned, we are exploring how best to support with this responsibility. If a governing board decides to proceed with the process of academising, they are required to make an application to the DBE. There are 3 meetings a year that a school can attend in order to do this. The head teacher, the chair of governors, and the MAT CEO of the MAT the school wishes to join are invited to present their rationale for joining the MAT, along with confirmation of some statutory requirements. The Department for Education cannot process an academisation request for a church school without the in-principle consent from the DBE. But most importantly, it's essential that an ongoing dialogue is maintained throughout the process, right from the initial discussions through to final conversion. This has been a short webinar designed to share important news with our maintained schools. You may have many questions or a need for a deeper conversation. If so, please do contact me. Both my email and my phone number is on the screen. In the meantime, all this information can be found on our website. I have popped the web link in the slide, but you can visit our website and search for Becoming an Academy to find the relevant page. You will be able to access a copy of the Academisation strategy to read in full. Finally, before I finish, I do want to reaffirm our commitment to working closely with church schools. I am deeply committed to ensuring that our church schools and their Christian foundation are securely protected for future generations, and that they continue to flourish as homes for children and young people in our communities across the diocese. Thank you.